Man, it's been nice knowing Nate. I've been a big fan of his for a long time, and my man is about to get absolutely destroyed. On September 10th, Nate Diaz is going to be fighting Khamzat Chimaev as a pay-per-view main event for UFC 279. The same guy he tried to match up with his friend Nick Maximov, and he publicly turned down for himself. He's not going to be fighting that guy. I mean, a lot of people are thinking this is going to be almost like an untelevised level of beating, and I hope that's not the case. Nate Diaz is a guy that's always in the fight. He's hard to put away. As he's shown in the Leon fight, he's always dangerous, so he can always make something happen considering Khamzat's cardio issue. I'm being generous, I know that. I don't want to see that happen to Nate Diaz. Everyone keeps talking about, the guy's like invincible. This could be the point where Nate just cannot survive the whole fight. Both Khamzat and Nate Diaz are going to be headlining an entire pay-per-view card. This is going to be the fourth time for Nate Diaz and the first time for Khamzat. And the fact that this is going to headline a big event like that, it also shows to us that Khamzat Chimaev is probably pulling in the numbers. If he defeats Nate Diaz on a grand stage like that, the guy's going to hit superstardom and fight for the belt next. That is 100% the plan. That's something everybody's expecting. If Nate Diaz somehow pulls this off, a very unlikely result, man, he wins. He just wins at everything at that point. He fights out his contract. He's going to get so many offers and everything afterward. This fight for Nate Diaz is one of the most important fights of his entire career, probably after the Conor McGregor fights. Because if he gets this one done, everybody's going to throw him offers and opportunities from all different angles. But if he loses, then Khamzat steals a bunch of that shine and he becomes not only a superstar, but a young superstar who isn't even 30 years old yet. And one fight at a time, the guy can take over the sport. If he defeats Usman afterward, I mean, we're talking about a guy that might rival some of the biggest stars we've ever seen. But this came as a bit of a surprise because Nate has been talking about constantly that he doesn't have a fight he wants out of the contract. He said he would fight anybody. A lot of people were kind of doubting that. They were doubting that he was accepting all of these fights. But at the end of the day, he did. He accepted the Khamzat fight, which he publicly turned down previously. So all credit to Nate Diaz for taking it. But man, this is going to be a tough fight for him. Where does he really beat Khamzat? Firstly, with the attributes, Khamzat's just way bigger than him. He's taller than him. He's ultimately longer than him. He has more power. He's faster. He's so durable, hard to hurt. He's very athletic. I mean, whenever a guy is bigger and faster than you, you're in trouble. And then when it comes to his skills, he's a kryptonite to Nate Diaz. Nate does not do well against wrestlers who grind him out. Khamzat could do that to him, but can he do it for 5 rounds? That's the biggest question. If Nate cannot put the pace on Khamzat, scaling it from how the Burns fight went for Khamzat, I could definitely see him going 5 rounds in this one. If the pace is kind of slower and Khamzat's dictating it and nothing crazy is happening and Nate is not really putting too much resistance, he's kind of getting controlled and ragdolled, I could see Khamzat doing that for 5 rounds. But it all comes down to, will Khamzat want to box it out? I wouldn't think he wants to, because he was very upset with himself that he brawled with Gilbert Burns when his corner was begging for him to stop brawling, and he himself was very disappointed in his performance. So I think this time, he's not going to let that repeat. He's going to do what he has to do to win this and dominate. Can he hurt Nate Diaz on the feet if he touches him? Yeah, absolutely. But as has been shown time and time again, fighters always make a mistake of trying to knock Nate Diaz out and he just does not go away. So they ultimately just gas themselves out and he starts to put it on them. Leon Edwards is a different kind of case. He knew that it wouldn't be easy to finish Nate, but he got caught by a big shot regardless. So Nate Diaz is always going to be somewhat dangerous the whole way through, especially the later in the rounds the fight goes. But here's the issue. Even though Nate has somewhat good boxing and he has pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he doesn't really have a way to make these effective in the fight. If he wants to start boxing with Khamzat, he's going to get double leg like crazy. It's going to really take away a lot of the boxing skill that Nate has. Number 2, if Nate tries to scramble with him on the ground, he's ultimately going to get controlled by the bigger man. Just like Leon did. I mean, Leon is not as good of a grappler as Khamzat is. He's not as good as a wrestler. And he was able to hold Nate down very easily. Imagine the guy that's relatively the same size as Leon, if not a little bit bigger, and much better wrestling skill overall. Nate is not really doing much from the bottom. Nate can perhaps try to catch a guillotine on the way down from the takedown, but he doesn't necessarily do that too often as of late. He likes to really scramble once he gets on his back, right? He's not so much like a Charles Oliveira. Oliveira would jump on your neck if you try to take him to the ground. Nate used to do some of that back in the day, but doesn't do that too often these days. And here's the best thing about Nate's skills. He's very good in the clinch. He's very good at tying you up, taking away your explosive striking, and wear you down against the cage by punching you in the face, kneeing you in the body, throwing all different kind of strikes in very close range. As Nate has gotten older, his clinch game has gotten much better, especially his dirty boxing. And it was on full scale when he fought Anthony Pettis. Pettis was getting the better of him from a distance. Even though Pettis is not the best boxer in the world or anything like that, from a distance he was outboxing Nate for the most part. Nate had to close the distance, get in his face, land a bunch of strikes, punches, and knees and everything, and even rocked Anthony Pettis because of that. He did the same thing against Conor, but he did get dealt with in the clinch from Jorge Masvidal. If you remember, that's the startup to the knockdown that Jorge got on him. But regardless, as good as Nate is in the clinch, he's doing nothing to Khamzat. Khamzat's gonna absolutely control there. That's where he shines as well. And I believe he's even better than Nate when it comes to the grappling aspect of the clinch. Not so much the striking aspect. I think Nate is a little bit better in that. But in the grappling, to control the opponent, take him to the ground, and maneuver them, that is going to be Khamzat's world. So no matter where the fight really goes, Nate is going to be in trouble. He pulls a victory out of this, he gains a whole new level of respect, man. Because I can only imagine how big of an underdog he's going to be going into this. Maybe like plus 400, plus 500. It's going to be pretty insane. Actually, let me look if they have the odds up. Khamzat is a 12-1 favorite. That is some Shevchenko level odds. Yeah, no one has any faith in Nate Diaz winning this. So this was an interesting matchup. This is a plan they've had for a long time. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's probably not going to be competitive, but it's going to be entertaining. And if Khamzat wins, he gets a title shot 100%. That's who Usman or Leon Edwards is going to fight next. I know a lot of people aren't really up for the fight like that, especially the hardcore fans. I mean, the casual fans are going to eat this up. So it's a great business move, and we know why they put this together with Nate wanting out of his contract. They want to build a guy off of him, and at the same time, they're going to draw a big pay-per-view number. It might even have the biggest pay-per-view number of the entire year. Nate and Khamzat are both stars in their own right. And a lot of people that don't really watch a sport like that, they probably don't know how much of a mismatch this is probably going to be. And honestly, that's great for the business. That's great for Khamzat. And Nate accepted the fight, so there's no losers really here. It's going to be entertaining somewhat. It's probably not going to be boring. I mean, I'd rather watch this than Adesanya versus Cannonier again, or Rose versus Carla again, or something like that, you know? At least this has a different level of entertainment that's going to keep even the hardcore fans somewhat excited, and hopefully with a big main event like that, they're going to stack the card. I think they're trying to do Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw on this. Now, that's not confirmed. I will talk about it once it is confirmed, but I think that's the plan for the co-main event. It'd be one of the only times where a non-title fight is going to headline over a title fight. But given that Sterling and TJ aren't that big of stars, you could kind of understand why they would go that route. I'm pretty sure the card would draw over 500,000 considering that, you know, the prices are going to go up. If it reaches $1 million, that would be super successful. That'd be amazing. And perhaps they could throw some other big stars, maybe a Sean O'Malley on the card, maybe anybody that could pick up the numbers there. Because the more eyes there is on Khamzat's performance, the better his future is going to be moving forward, both in the middleweight division and the welterweight division. So leave in the comments below, what do you guys think about this matchup? How do you think Khamzat is going to win? And what is next for both these guys? Win or lose for either fighter? My next video might be the podcast, so stay tuned for that. I'm still accepting questions if you guys want to ask anything, and I'll see you guys then.